On April 1st, 2023, Bud Light sent a single customized beer can to a TikTok influencer. The can featured her face. The video lasted less than 60 seconds. Within days, it triggered one of the fastest brand collapses in modern American business history. Customers filmed themselves dumping Bud Light down sinks. Country musicians canceled sponsorships. Bars quietly removed it from taps. Anheuser-Busch, the parent company behind Bud Light, lost more than $27 billion in market value. This is the story of how America's biggest beer brand misunderstood its audience, lost control of its identity, and learned one of the most expensive marketing lessons of the decade. For decades, Bud Light wasn't just a beer, it was the beer. By the early 2000s, it was the best-selling beer in the United States, a position it held for more than 20 consecutive years. At its peak, nearly 1 out of every 4 beers sold nationwide was Bud Light. The formula was simple: cheap, familiar, everywhere. Bud Light didn't compete on taste or craftsmanship, it competed on reliability. You didn't choose Bud Light because it was special, you chose it because it was there. Its advertising reflected that philosophy. Super Bowl commercials, NASCAR sponsorships, UFC partnerships, college football broadcasts. Bud Light didn't try to shape culture. It mirrored whatever mainstream America already was, and for decades, that was enough. But by the late 2010s, the foundation began to crack. Beer consumption in the United States started to decline. Younger drinkers weren't choosing light beer. They were choosing hard seltzers, tequila, craft spirits, or drinking less altogether. Between 2015 and 2022, beer steadily lost share of the alcohol market. Bud Light's volume declined year after year. New competitors gained ground. By 2022, Bud Light was still number 1, but barely. Inside Anheuser-Busch, leadership saw the problem clearly. The issue wasn't price, it wasn't distribution, it was relevance. Bud Light felt old, predictable, disconnected from younger consumers who didn't identify with the brand's image or its history. Leadership concluded that defending the old identity wasn't enough. The brand needed to evolve. In early 2023, Bud Light brought in new marketing leadership with a mandate to modernize the brand. Internally, Bud Light was described as outdated and too closely associated with a narrow audience. The strategy shifted away from mass appeal toward cultural signaling. Influencer marketing would replace traditional advertising. Relevance would replace reach. The goal wasn't convincing existing customers to stay, it was attracting new ones. That decision led to a single post. On April 1st, 2023, Dylan Mulvaney posted a sponsored video on social media. She joked about March Madness, held a Bud Light can with her face on it, and thanked the brand. There was no national rollout, no television campaign, no press conference, just one influencer post. Within hours, the reaction exploded. For longtime Bud Light customers, the issue wasn't the influencer herself, it was what the post represented. The brand they had been buying for years suddenly felt unfamiliar. Social media filled with boycott videos. Retailers reported sudden drops in demand. Distributors grew nervous. Country musicians cut ties. Bars quietly switched taps. Competitors moved in immediately. Within weeks, Bud Light sales dropped by more than 25%. Modelo overtook Bud Light as America's best-selling beer for the first time in decades. Anheuser-Busch's stock price fell sharply, erasing tens of billions of dollars in value. The backlash wasn't theoretical, it showed up in earnings. Anheuser-Busch attempted damage control. Executives released carefully worded statements about unity and inclusion. Patriotic imagery returned to advertising. Limited edition cans featuring American symbols appeared on shelves. But something critical was missing: clarity. The company never fully explained the campaign. It didn't clearly defend it, and it didn't clearly retreat from it either. To loyal customers, the silence felt like dismissal. To critics, it felt like hesitation. To investors, it felt like uncertainty. By mid-2023, the financial damage was undeniable. Bud Light lost its position as America's top beer. Market share continued to fall month after month. Distributors reported long-term damage to relationships built over decades. At its lowest point, Anheuser-Busch had lost more than $27 billion in market value. Sales eventually stabilized, but the dominance never returned. Bud Light wasn't destroyed, it was permanently weakened. Company leadership framed the backlash as temporary. They emphasized long-term strategy, younger consumers, and feature relevance. The logic was familiar. Short-term losses were a price worth paying for long-term positioning. But the data revealed a gap. Awareness increased, but purchases didn't. Positive sentiment rose among audiences who weren't buying beer. The people praising the campaign weren't the people filling carts. Bud Light generated attention, but attention didn't convert into revenue. In the end, the failure came down to 3 miscalculations. Bud Light misunderstood its core customer. The brand wasn't an expression of values, it was a routine, a habit, something people bought without thinking. Changing that identity without preparation created resistance. Second, Bud Light confused cultural relevance with product relevance. Beer is social, but it is also habitual. Most consumers don't want messaging when they open a drink. They want familiarity. Third, the brand changed its image without offering a bridge from the old to the new. There was no transition, no explanation, just a sudden shift. Successful brands evolve with their customers. They don't abandon them. Bud Light didn't fail because it took a stand. It failed because it didn't understand who was standing with it. You can modernize a brand, you can chase new audiences, you can generate headlines and dominate conversations, but at the end of the day, someone still has to buy the beer. And when the people who always did stop reaching for it, the cost isn't measured in views or comments, it's measured in billions.